This show has been canceled. A brand new TV show. Is it brand new? Keep calling it brand new even when it's really old. What? I mean, shit. I gotta make some bullshit up. So let's make this episode 2. I rambled about enough shit for episode 1. Fuck it. Episode 2. The episodes have a name. Well, names are for categorization. Someone might be like looking for it, and it's like, hey, names are dangerous. Names could enable people to carry out nefarious plots against you. So we won't name the episode in honor of reasonable safety practices that prefer unnamadity. Names are what people can use to get you. Okay, so it starts off, there's this dude. There's two guys leaning against a brick wall. One's smoking a vape, the other's smoking a cigarette. And the guy with the vape says, in this obnoxious, nerdy hipster voice, "Tobacco is bad for your lungs." And the guy smoking this cigarette says, "My life is bad for my fucking lungs." And the hipster asks, why? I'm not going to do the voice anymore. The hipster asks, why is that? Why is your life bad for your lungs? And the man replies, "My life is bad for my entire body, especially my brain, which experiences my goddamn life." And it's just like, the hipster says, well, you seem like you're stressed out. And, it's part of our new hip culture to fucking be like, let's talk about our problems. Instead of bottling them up until they cause heartburn. And so the tobacco smoker guy is like, well, shit, man. Stress, goddammit, stress. And he's like, I work fucking 2 jobs. I got too many fucking bills to pay. And nobody appreciates me for shit. I feel like I'm just some sort of grunt or something. Completely replaceable. My boss threatens to fire me every day. And he just like pops out from around the corner and he jumps out and he says, "You're fired, you're fired, you're fired." And then I ask, really? Am I really fired? I can't afford to lose the job, but I do want to lose the job. Am I fired? And then my boss is like, well, no, not really. I'd have to replace you, and that would be work, and I don't want to do that. So, and the hipster interrupts, and he says, it's not all about money, man. It's not all about money, man. And the tobacco smoker hucks his butt onto a patch of grass, a dry patch of grass, which starts to crackle and burn a little bit. And he says, "Oh, well, have you ever had, debt collectors banging on your fucking door at 3 a.m. and start screaming for you to hand over your couch and your refrigerator and your microwave?" And then the hipster admits that no, that hasn't happened to him. And so the guy, he's smoking another cigarette, of course, and chain smoke. And he explains, well, shit, man. Yeah, I'm in debt. So it is all about money. And so I'm stressed out because I need to earn money to pay off all this fucking debt. And that's why I smoke these fucking cigarettes. I'm stressed out. Need money to pay debt. Work my ass off. Stress the fuck out. Chain smoke the cigarettes. Chain smoke the cigarettes. Gotta chain smoke the fucking cigarettes or I'll snap. And then it cuts to another scene. Okay, that's the end of that part. There's this guy and he's mowing his lawn and he's kind of whistling and singing a happy song. You can't really hear it very well over the roar of the lawnmower. But you can tell he's whistling and sort of singing a happy song. It's a happy song with some whistling in it. And his wife comes out and yells in a nagging voice, "You didn't do the dishes! You didn't do the dishes, you dirty motherfucker!" And the man, he turns off the lawnmower and he says, "What? What did you say?" His hearing is damaged from operating. No, the lawnmower isn't the worst part. He's got a lot of heavy machinery. And his wife says, "You didn't do the dishes! And you're the one who made the dishes all fucking messy, so get in here, you fucking son of a bitch!" And the man's like, "Stop calling my mother a bitch. Please stop calling my mother a bitch." That's what you're implying when you use that phrase. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll come in and I'll do the dishes. So he's inside, and he's got this big pile of dishes, and he's cleaning it. And he's whistling, and he's singing his happy song, like fucking, he's just able to handle a chore with the whistling and singing a happy song. And then his dog comes up and starts barking. "Bark, bark! Let me the fuck outside! Bark, bark! Let me the fuck in the backyard! I need his shit!" And so the man pauses his dishes washing to let the dog outside. But now, his wife is like, Why'd you stop washing the dishes? You dirty bastard! Your cum smells like garbage." And the man says, "That's because I have urethra issues and infections that I've been working on dealing with, but they seem to be antibiotic resistant." And she says, "Your cum smells nasty." And the man, he's like, I'm going right back to washing the dishes. And he starts washing the dishes. And as soon as he does, the dog starts barking. "Bark, bark, bark, bark. Let me the fuck back in. Bark, bark." And so he goes to let the dog in. And as soon as the dog walks into the living room, the dog pisses on the floor. And the man, his face had been sort of neutral or cheerful, but now it falls to a frown. And he's just like, "My life fucking sucks. My life fucking sucks. I'm going back to vodka. I'm going back to vodka." And his wife says, "You're just gonna piss your pants again, you dumb motherfucker." "Whatever. Doesn't smell as bad as your nasty garbage, jeez." And so the man, he goes to the liquor store, buys a bottle of vodka, just opens it at the counter and starts chugging from it. And the cashier is like, "You're an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic. Come on, man. You're back to doing this." And it's just like, when you're doing this, like, I have to let you in the store. I'm an employee. They say because you buy things, you have to let you back in. But I remember the time you vomited on the counter and I had to clean it up. And I'm no longer happy when I see you drink because I had to clean up your fucking vomit. And it had too much blood in it. And I had nightmares about that. Nightmares about your bloody vomit. And the man says this after guzzling quite a bit of warm vodka. He says, "I don't fucking care about anything. Booze. Sick of my life. I'm gonna drink a lot of fucking cheap vodka." Then an incident occurs. The man vomits on the counter, and it contains quite a bit of blood. Now, there's a flashback, and it's his doctor warning him, "Listen, man, your stomach has fucked up holes in it, and lesions or something. I don't fucking understand it completely. All I know is stop fucking drinking booze, or your stomach will bleed heavily every time you do it." So anyways, and it flashes back to him, like, puking a massive amount of food and chunky bile blood containing puke onto the counter, and it's splattering on the fucking cashier's shirt, and the cashier's just screaming, "Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!" And then the boss walks out of that back room. And he says to the cashier, "We provide smiles and kindness here, not swear words and middle fingers. You're fired. And clean up the bottom before you leave." Oh, wait. "After you clean up the vomit, you're fired." And then the guy, cashier, like, storms out. And the boss is like, "Shit, shit, 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 shit. I don't want to clean that up. I guess I'll leave it there." Anyways, there's a little montage. Do. Don't clean up messes, shit can go wrong. Don't clean up messages, shit can go wrong. And it's like day after day of customers, it's playing that song. Don't clean up messes, shit can go wrong. Customers coming in the liquor store, seeing the bloody, congealed, and dried out, bloody vomit counter. And the guy's just standing at the boss standing at the cash register being like, "Please, please." He's making gestures. The song is playing. Like, "Come back, come on, let's just do the exchange." And the customer's like, no. And they just put the merchandise back and leave. And then, the montage is over. And there's a for sale sign on the front of the bar. And he's boarded up the front door of it. And then the guy who's been drinking heavily, he walks by and he says, "Ah, shit, man, my wife says I'm out on the streets again until I sober up. This is what she fucking does. Shit, man, I don't know how she fucking changes locks and all that shit. Anyways, I'm not sobering up yet, so I'll be living in the gutter." And the man who was running the liquor store, the boss man, he says, "Well, shit, can I have a shot of that?" And the man says, Nope, none for you." Okay, now for a commercial advertisement from our sponsors. There's this guy, and he's smoking a bong. He's smoking a bunch of weed. And there's two stoners in fucking stoner-looking clothes or whatever, stoner-looking aspects to the appearance. And, they're bubbling and coughing and blowing out lots of smoke and shit and passing the bomb back and forth. Just hacking their fucking lungs out. With a bunch of smoke coming out. And they just keep hitting this bong that makes them choke and choke and choke. And then one of them, towards the end of the bowl, is like, "Yeah, man, coughing gets you higher. It gets you higher if you fucking cough when you smoke weed." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, I know, we say this over and over again every time we're choking our fucking lungs out." And then the dude says, "Man, I wish there was something good to eat in the fridge." And they go in the fridge. They open up the fridge, and there's just first, all the walls of the fridge are covered in a bunch of black mold. And the fucking ceiling part of the fridge, there's a bunch of mushrooms hanging down, really weird looking mushrooms. And red spores are sprinkling out of the mushrooms. And then there's a bunch of mason jars full of some sort of yellow substance. And one of the stoners is like, "Bro, are you still fucking refrigerating that nasty old rotten piss?" And the other stoner's like, "Bro, I heard on the internet, if you ferment the piss, it'll get you high." And the other stoner's like, "Can't believe everything you read on the internet, man. Anyways, what are we gonna do about food? We got the munchies, brah. We got the fucking munchies, brah." And then, so, there's a little jingle, and this man in a fucking top hat and cane kind of is dressed like the Monopoly Man, sort of. He doesn't exactly look like the Monopoly Man, but he's dressed in that old fashioned, whatever, man. He's dressed in nice old timey clothes with a fucking black top hat and a cane. And he comes out and he says, "Oh, you want to eat, do you? Well, you're in luck then. We're selling happy cakes. Happy cakes filled with an unidentified addictive ingredient that will cause you to keep eating the happy cakes." And then it like fucking shows a clip of some dude, and he's like laying down on the ground in some unidentified patch where there's a bunch of used needles and empty liquor bottles and shit. It's like kind of grass and dirt and shit near like some sort of broken up chain link fence, and he's just shoveling down happy cakes, and he says, "There's nothing to life but eating happy cakes anymore." And it goes back to Top Hat Man, and he says, look how much he loves the happy cakes." And that's the end of that commercial. And then, next up, there's these two women in a fucking coffee shop. And they're talking, and one of them's like, "I'm so sick of all these guys who just, like, think I'm, like, easy or something." And then the other chick is like, "You're a whore. You're a terrible whore. You sleep around so much." And she's like, "Yeah, but I don't want anyone to remember that or judge me because of it." And then it's like, this guy comes out, and he's dressed in doctor gear, and he's like, "There are so many drugs, terrible, terrible drugs that can make people forget things. We have bottles of pills, motherfuckers. Bottles of pills. Bottles," and the little chink comes out. "Bottles," the doctor's dancing around. "Bottles of pills, bottles of pills. Bottles of pills that can cause amnesia. Bottles of pills, bottles of pills. Bottles of pills that can make people forget." And then the chick is like, "Oh my gosh, I remember that commercial. I just need to give all the guys I sleep with dangerous drugs from these bottles of pills. And then they won't remember to talk about the fact that, I'm sleeping around." And the other chick is like, "That's a crime. That's a crime to drug people in ways that cause them to forget things." And then, there's like a red bar of text at the bottom, and the screen goes like blank besides that, and it's just like, a narrator saying in a dark voice, "Disclaimer. The bottles of drugs are illegal. Please buy them anyways." Okay, now back to our regular programming. So there's this dude, and he's walking down the street, and he's dressed in hip-hop rappy clothes, and he's got face tattoos of strange letters that make up words that aren't words. So it's just some sort of combination of letters. And, with weird fonts. Anyways, so he's got all the... He's looking good, man. This is the style on the streets, right? Wherever he's at. And this other guy passes by, and he's like, "Looking good, bro. I dig your style." And the guy's like, yo, "I just copied what I seen on the internet." And, so he walks into a bank, and he walks up to the teller, and he's like, "Yeah, so I have a job interview here today." And the teller looks at him and says, "We don't hire people with fucking tattoos on their face." And the guy says, "That's a discriminatory policy." And the bank teller says, "Yeah, we're discriminating against you. Leave. So, Guy walks out of the bank. He's like, oh, shucks, shit, shit, shit. Couldn't get a job at the bank because of my face tattoos. And, like, some, sad melody music comes on. It's like, do, 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 do. And then the guy walks by, and there's this drug dealer standing on the corner, and he's like, yo, I got the white girl on deck, white girl on deck. Snow or hail, snow or hail. And the face tat guy's like, what does that mean? What are you talking about? He's like, do you want cocaine or crack? And so the face tat guy's like, I have $50 left in my pocket. And nowhere to go. And I can't get a job. Give me the crack. So, the drug dealer hands him, like, fucking some crack. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And dealer's like, you don't got a pipe, man. Like, what the fuck? You spend your last dollar on the crack, you don't got a pipe. I got a pipe on me. I just sold you this shit. Maybe I want you to come back. I want to see crack and you're not smoking and you not come back. Alright, shit. Come with me. And they go up back into some bushes and shit. And, the crack dealer, like, fucking packs the crack in the pipe and he's like, here, hit this. And then the guy with the face tats hits the crack pipe. And he blows it out, and he's just like, what does that do? And then he's like, his eyes start opening wider, and they're kind of like bloodshot and shit. Like, you can see them becoming redder, and then, like, the face tats guy is like, crack is where it's at! Crack is where it's at! We need to tell the whole world about this. This will solve everything. This will solve everything. I don't need a job, I just need more crack. And the crack dealer's like, well, how are you gonna get money for the crack? You can sell your ass. And then the face tats man says, I'm terribly afraid of selling my ass. Terribly afraid of that. Crack dealer says, well, you won't get no more crack. And then there's like a blank black screen. And it says on it, a decision was made. You can guess what it was. A decision was made. You can guess what it was. I don't know what the audience would be guessing. Maybe they're guessing that he did sell his ass or didn't sell his ass for more crack. Anyways, how much longer am I gonna go with this? Okay, so there's these two people standing in some sort of fucking restaurant. Let's say it's a Jimmy John's, and they're standing at the soda fountain, and one guy is saying to the other guy, I never know which soda to pick. There are too many choices. And the other guy's like, why don't we just try mixing a little bit of every soda together? And they get really excited about this idea, and you can see it on their faces. And so they each, like, fucking take one of each of the fucking sodas, and they get this kind of, like, weird caramel-colored mix. And then they sit down, and, like, all of a sudden, like, this huge swarm of fucking beetles comes out of the sodas. And then, like, this guy in a fucking black hood and all black clothes, and he's sort of a shadow of his face, and he's pale and shit. He's like really pale white in the part of his face you can see. He says, you weren't supposed to mix the sodas together. Now swarms of beetles. A plague will be released upon the city. And all just endless fucking beetles are flying out, and they start biting the two dudes, and like flying and biting all the people working at Jimmy John's. The beetles like form up these tight swarms and start banging against the glass until it breaks open and they fly out. And then the camera shows just a bunch of beetles flying around and biting people relentlessly, and they're trying to run away, but there's just more beetles everywhere. You weren't supposed to mix the sodas together like that. Okay, that'll be the end of it. Shit, I should make it longer. I see him at 24 minutes, and it's just like, it should be longer. This show has been canceled. This show has been canceled. A brand new hit TV show.